Almost all Muslims consider the Quran a direct gift, a directed book that was given to humanity by Allah. And by this term Allah, they are oblivious really and honestly to the fact that the real creator is not a man, is not a woman, is not a spirit, or does not interact with us directly. They also teach that there are no mistakes and contradictions in the Quran. Come today, let us delve into a critical analysis of the Quranic narratives, exploring their historical, scientific, and logical inconsistencies, perhaps consistencies. This video challenges traditional interpretations and invites viewers to question the veracity of these ancient tales and books, specifically the Quran. Join us today as we re-examine the Quranic narratives. We will select a few and seek truth out of them so that we go beyond our belief. Hamiti Hebrew Ethics YouTube channel, we welcome you as members of Marfado Family Network, where we decipher the critical matters of the afterlife as determined by our current existence. Subscribe to our channel, like our videos, comment and share so that we can at least break the logjam in which we find our channel in, where they have shadow banned it. So you can also engage and enroll into Bantu universities to study Bantu mysteries and Bantu foundations. If on re-examining the Quran we find that it contains even one or a huge number of contradictions, mistakes and errors, we are obligated by reason to relegate it from divine inspiration to something else. We know definitely that the Arabs conquered ancient Hamid. We also know that the original text of the Quran was banned by Caliph Atman, and we know that the writing that they used to write the Quran did not come from any divine source, but the Arabs did intentionally copy it from ancient Hamid, a demotic writing which is part of ancient Hamitic writings. Let's re-examine the Quranic narratives now. We want to look first and foremost at Allah, because you cannot discuss the Quran without dealing with Allah. Muslims claim that the word Allah translates as God. The Kufi school of Arab grammar, which was formed in the 8th century, regarded the term Allah as an abbreviation of Al-Ilah, which means God. This version is considered plausible because before the rise of Islam, this term already existed among Arab polytheists and Christians. The 6th century Arab poet Nabiga al-Zubyani, who lived in the yards of Lamids and Ghassanids, used the words Allah and Al-Ilah as synonyms. In the same way, the pre-Islamic Arab poet of the 6th century Ad ibn Zayd, who was a Christian and lived in Al-Kai, wrote the same thing. A more interesting specimen is the North Arabian cave graffiti of the Safavide period, 1st and 4th century, where the name Ilah is found as the name of one of the deities, which is mentioned together with gods Kal, Ashka, and Druda. This name is also found in the designation of many of the Nabatean deities. An old Quran, a version that now has somehow disappeared, has the name Allah, Al-Ilah, which means God. Straightforward, without any doubt. However, there is another version according to which the term Allah comes from the word meaning gods in the Syrian language, Allahu or Elah, which is singular, for Eloah, Elohim, which is plural, Eliyahu, which is El. This is very interesting because then we are finding that Arabic God has a name, nomen proprium. Very interesting. On re-examining the Quranic narratives, the main character, their God, clearly comes out linguistically, etymologically, not even as a primordial deity, but as just a common deity, coming from Canaanite deities, Canaanite pantheon. There is the Canaanite God wearing the African Atef crown. These are African deities, inclusive of El. I want to say this is where you get Ma'ali. This is where you get your El. So Ma'ari is a deity, and this God El, the chief god of the Canaanite pantheon, also the god of the Bible, In Arabic, he is known as Allah. Currently, he is worshipped by roughly over 70% of humans. And he has been exported as Elohim into Hebrew, Allah in Aramaic, and Allah in Arabic. All these are deities, Mondoro, not Makombre. That is very, very important. Makombre are primordial, Mondoro are gods, a level above our ancestors. Now, when we go to the Quran, we also see that Arab polytheists knew this name Allah, and they knew that he was a creator deity whom they can appeal to. If you ask them, who created the heavens and the earth and subjugated the sun and the moon, they will certainly say Allah. Now, how disgusted they are from the truth. Quran 29:61, subjugated, which means they are actually telling you that the sun and the moon already existed and someone has to subjugate them or conquer them, proving that these are common deities, not even primordial gods. Including, we see now that when they were in trouble, many of the pagans would appeal to Allah when they are in danger. Also in the Quran 31:32, when the wave covers them like a shadow, they cry out to Allah, purifying their faith before him. When he saves them and brings them to land, then among them is one who shows moderation. Very, very interesting. So Allah is a deity, not the unknowable creator. What does Allah mean? Here from this source, Semitic base Al-Ilah, Canaanite El, Hebrew Elohim or Eloi, Aramaic Allah, Arabic Allah, and that's where you get your God or Goth, which is your God today. So when we re-examine the Quranic narratives, we want to ask and prosecute it and say, can Allah do anything or not? Muslims, just like Christians and Jews, consider their God an omnipotent being, the creator of the world, the great manager of the universe. However, the Quran provides evidence that conflicts and opposes and contradicts that position. So when you go to Surah 35 verse 1, it says, he multiplies in creation what he wants. Indeed, Allah is capable of everything. All right, good. So Allah can do anything? No, because in 6 days it says he is creator of heaven and earth. How can he have a son if he does not have a spouse? This is important because it's clearly telling everybody that this Allah they are discussing here, talking about, is not the unknowable real creator, but he is a spouse, because the creator is nameless, unknowable, is not a being, is not a spirit or an entity, does not interact with humans, is beyond that, is beyond infinity, beyond formless, and beyond existence. We don't know. Anyone who comes to you to claim that they know about the creator, when they explain to you about the creator, you must understand, and every human being must confirm that, should never have even one opposition. But that's not the case, because the subjectivity of every human being comes up. Therefore, if anyone can describe such a one, every human, animal, mute and dumb or dull or genius, should never be in doubt, but understand and agree that that's correct. So Allah is not the real creator. It's very, very, very important. Now, the question then is the Quran inspired? As we re-examine the Quran to seek truth beyond belief, we know that we have already proved that Allah evolved from El. You can watch this YouTube video, From El to Allah, Evolution of Gods, Part 1 by Pale Blue Thoughts. You can also watch many of our videos. They confirm many of that. Let's look at the contradictions now to prove that the Quran is not inspired and the Quran does not come by inspiration of the unknowable real creator. If it did come from that, every human being who walks on the earth would read the Quran and believe it without any pressure. So first and foremost, who was the first Muslim? They say it's Muhammad. You read Surah 6, Surah 7 says it's Moses. You read other surahs, or male and dominant human beings, Abraham in other surahs, and Adam in other surahs. So these contradictions completely oppose what the Quran itself claims, because it says it is beyond contradiction. If you read Quran 482. So when we re-examine these Quranic narratives, we have proved and we find proof that its God Allah is a deity. And then we went on and validated that yes, there are errors and contradictions. Many contradictions. So this discovery of even one, but now we've put about 3 contradictions, shows us that there is a significant conclusion that we need to arrive at. That the text itself, when it claims that there is no internal contradictions, is lying. It's not telling the truth. So this idea is rooted in the Quran and Quranic verses, that it has no contradictions, but it has. Since the Quran claims to be the literal word of God or Allah conveyed to the Prophet Muhammad, a contradiction would challenge its claim of divine perfection and infallibility as an all-knowing deity who do not produce a text containing any error or doubted by even one human being. But that's not the case, because the divine origin of the Quran has been relegated by all the contradictions that we have discovered. So if you go in the 30th surah of the Quran, it says that absolutely they all are submissive to him. And when he says they're all submissive to him, that's not correct, because not all are submissive to him, or not always submissive to him, because you find Iblis, where in Quran 2:34 he says, here we said to the angels, prostrate yourself before Adam. They prostrated themselves, and only Iblis refused. He became proud and became one of the unbelievers. But that fact alone contradicts the Quran and the theme that they all are submissive to him. And therefore the divine perfection of Allah as revealed truth to mankind is in jeopardy. Very open and clear. When we continue to look at the re-examination of the final revelation to mankind, we are told that the Quran is one copy, unchanged, no contradictions, error-free, scientifically accurate, historically correct, poetically beautiful. It is not. It is not. And everything of this, there is another copy. It was changed. There are plenty of contradictions. There are lots of errors. Scientifically inaccurate in every aspect. Historically incorrect, poetically not beautiful. It's a fact. Now, when we look at this fact and re-examine these narratives, and we find this justification that it is not correct, we will have found justification why melanin-dominant human beings were colonized and enslaved by Muslims using the Quran. That's how Muslims who consider the Quran a direct speech of Allah and teach that there are no mistakes and contradictions in it, how they deal with their proofs, how they deal with what they did, because they attacked us, enslaved us without provocation. The real creator would never engage in such, but other deities and other gods would do that. So when you read Quran 2:19, it says, slay the unbelievers wherever you find them. The question is, if Allah is the all-knowing and is the real creator, there wouldn't be need to slay for other human beings to slay other humans. The real creator would convince you, would reveal to you the truth, because he loves you, or she loves you, or it loves you. But this is not like that. So when we re-examine the narratives of the Quran, we find that it teaches that Muslims must not take the infidels as friends, that any religion other than Islam is not acceptable. But we know that before that, there were religions that were not Islamic, of people that perfected their understanding of the spiritual realm and built pyramids greater than what any Muslim or all Muslims have built today. This is clear. And they go on to say the unbelievers are stupid as the Muslims to fight them. Quran 9:5, when the opportunity arises, kill the infidels wherever you catch them. This is not from the real and noble creator, but from a deity, a warrior deity. After we have re-examined the Quranic narratives, the integrity of the Quran is found wanting. We want to summarize that there are so many sources. Despite the claims that the Quran is divine revelation, there are many sources where, if you examine those sources, you find that this is a blend that was used to make the Quran. Pre-Islamic Arabian culture and oral traditions The Hanif tradition, the Hanifs were monotheistic Arabs who existed before Islam, before even Christianity. And these were monotheistic individuals and people. They were called God-fearers. They feared their God, not the real and noble creator. And then we will find that in the Quran there are biblical and extra-biblical narratives. Straight clear forward, you find all the prophets, many prophets that you find in the Quran pre-existed and were written about in the Torah, in the Bible, like Jesus. So you find that in the context that we get here, when we respond to the question of re-examining the Quranic text, it was a response to social, political, religious, and moral issues of the 7th century amongst the people that lived in Arabia, who used to worship other gods and other deities. All these tales were copied from ancient Africa. You find here in Jenne in Mali 250 BCE, in Hamit 1400 BCE, what is copied by this Asiatic Muslim who committed cultural theft and denigrates our prayers. The Salat prayer, 5-time prayer system, was borrowed from us. Know thyself as an African. Because having delved into this critical analysis of the Quranic narratives and explored its God and holy book, we discovered a logical inconsistencies. It is indeed a poor alternative to our pure ancient spirituality, where the real creator is too pure to have a name, to inspire a book, or even to be drawn, or even to be described as a spirit, or as he, or as we, what you read in the Quran. We also find that the reason why Islam easily enslaves us, colonizes us, is because it is dealing and it is driven by non-primordial deities and other spirits who are at work. And this is what we understand from our free will, without fear, without favor, and we need to stick to knowing ourselves. However, the God of Muslims, the God of Christians, the God of Arabs, the God of Hindus is not for us, is not our God, is not our deity. We are people obligated to offer prayers and worship to Afro-primordial deities, to revere our ancestors via totemic activation out of our melanin, Ubuntu, Bantu, Maati identity. We should not think that Islam is our natural religion. It is not. But the Arabs engaged in slave trade, and they've hidden that history to us today. And now they are enjoying our wealth of oil in so-called Middle East, which was part and which is part of Africa, which they are still colonizing today. This is very, very important, because you need to get more information, to get tools that you can use to re-examine Quranic narratives or any narratives, including even our own narratives as melanin dominant human beings. You can send us an email on john@marifado.org. You can visit our website www.marifado.org to get more information, to enroll into Bantu Foundations and Bantu Mysteries. Till we meet again, we meet this week on our YouTube Live. To participate in that live, please click the notice bell so that you can be notified when we go live. You can send us an email, and you can also engage with us on our WhatsApp group and many other social media platforms. Your manager to Rabbi LM Jaganja says, yes, we can win this war. Yes, we are on top. Yes, we will never be misled again. Amen.